Hi, we're here at All-in-One Fitness, the #1 spot in the Bay Area to work with the 40 plus population. A little bit of a forgotten community in the fitness arena. That's why we made it our personal specialty and passion to work with people such as Ray in the baby boomer age group. So, Ray, he's our guest today. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Ray. I've worked out all my life. I'm 63 years old. My problem is I've worked out the old-fashioned way that you did years ago when all you cared about is getting big and strong. And now I'm in a position with my age that I'm so stiff, I can hardly bend down to touch my toes, which I
Why
can't
don't you
do.
show how far you
This
can
is
bend?
as far as I can go, as far as touching my toes. I can barely get to my knees. I also have, with the stiffness, I have very little flexibility. So these are the things that I'm looking forward to increase, and I'm having Jasmine show me these things.
Okay, I'd be happy to help you. So first is first, let's go ahead and have you perform a squat. Okay, Ray, go ahead and bring your arms up, stand a little wider, and perform a couple of squats. Good. So we see he's very tight in the upper body, and also he's falling forward. That means his core is weakened, and also I can sense that the glutes are not very strong, and the knees go outward. That means he is dominant in the IT band area and weakened in the inner thighs. So definitely glutes are underactive. The IT bands are very tight. You can go ahead and stop. And then his chest, lats are very tight as well. So I'm going to show you how to correct all the areas that are overly tight. So I'm going to have Ray perform a latissimus stretch. So you're going to go ahead and bring both feet closer to the wall. Good. Bring your arms up. And now go ahead and hang on with this arm here, this arm there. And now lean into this stretch. So we're loosening up all the fascia under his arm and the latissimus, as well as part of his shoulders. You feel the stretch all the way down here,
stretch.
right? Yeah.
Yes, I do.
And you want to focus on your breathing. I know it's hard to breathe in this position.
I definitely feel this stretch.
Yep. Good. And we're going to do the other side, but we're going to move on to the next stretch. Okay, so the next stretch will be the pectoralis, the chest muscle. So I'm going to have you bring your arm 90 degrees against the wall and then walk into the stretch with your right foot. Now focusing on opening up the pectoralis muscle and breathe. And you want to allow the stretch, you never want to force a stretch.
This feels nice and look like it's loosening up in there.
And of course awesome. And of course you want to do that on both sides. Okay, so we're going to perform a hamstring stretch. I'm going to show you how to correctly do a hamstring stretch when you have extremely tight hamstrings. Because what happens when your hamstrings are so tight, it actually, let's show Ray from the side real quick, it actually stretches the lumbar area and the muscles, the spinal erectors, all day long. They're in an overstretched position because the hamstrings are pulling the sacrum down. So it would be wrong for you to now just go to town and try to stretch like this, because then you further stretch your back, which we're not looking to stretch. So Ray, go ahead and take a seat on the ball. And I'm going to have you bring your right leg forward, bring your hands across the chest, stretch your back, make your back really nice and long, and now try to pull the belly button forward and your sacrum back. So how does that feel?
It feels like a really stretch. But you're right, I'm very tight.
Yeah.
This is stretching up.
Yeah.
But it feels good.
Yeah. Good. And you would do that for both sides for about 30 seconds to a minute. The next stretch, we brought a little more stable prop. because the ball would be too unstable. He's gonna have to lift one leg up. So let's go ahead and take a seat and fold one leg over the other. And as we can see, Ray is very tight in the IT bands and the piriformis. That's a portion of the glutes. And you can see that because his knee is very high up. So what we want to do now, slightly press on the knee, and with a straight back, lean a little bit forward. You feel a good stretch there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel a good
So
stretch.
this is an excellent stretch for guys because guys have a little bit narrower hips, and because of that, they are more prone to very tight hips and the muscles surrounding the hip joint. This is an excellent stretch if you feel tension in the hips, if you feel like your knees or your feet tend to go outwards when you walk. Chances are the outer portion of your legs, the IT band, gluteus minimus, piriformis are tight.
In my case, they're definitely tight. This is, I do feel it's loosening them up.
Yeah. Next, we're going to be showing you a quadricep stretch. Now, often at the age of 60 plus, people tend to have a hard time just grabbing their leg and stretching the quadricep. So we brought a prop. It's a stretch band that has various knobs that allows you to get further and further as you loosen up. So I'm going to have Ray use the stretch band as a little help. We're going to put the foot in there, and then he can just go ahead and hold the stretch band. Now go ahead and point the knee straight to the ground and push your hip forward, belly in a little bit. There, do you feel a good stretch?
I do feel a good stretch.
Excellent. And you can see his hip flexors are tight, just the way he's having to hold. And his quadriceps and the hip flexors work hand in hand, so they're both very tight.
This does feel like it's loosening up, though. I'm really glad for this exercise.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna do something that we refer to as an assisted stretch. So in a session with one of us personal trainers here at All in One Fitness, you have the luxury of us helping you with your stretches or with your myofascial release. For the stretches, I'm using the foam roller. For the myofascial release, I'm gonna be using the tiger tail. So we're gonna start with a hip flexor stretch. Go ahead and lift your hips up, Ray. We're gonna place the foam roller right underneath his sacrum, and I'm gonna have you hold this leg towards you under the knee while I push this leg down, and we're getting a nice stretch of the quadriceps into the hip flexors, which run into the low back spine.
Boy, I feel this stretch.
Does it feel good?
It does feel good.
Excellent.
More stretch than I've probably ever been in my life.
Okay, and you'll notice afterwards we're gonna perform a squat again. It'll be a different story. Okay, so for the next stretch, myofascial release, we're gonna be targeting his IT bands. And for that, I propped him on his side and put a half foam roller between his legs so that his knees are not in already an overstretched position before we go applying pressure. So in this way, his IT band is in a nice neutral position, and I'm gonna apply some pressure right here along the IT bands. Are you feeling that?
Yes, I feel it.
I'm gonna go a little deeper. Is it getting a little harder as I come up?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's what I thought, that up here is where he holds most of his tension around the hips again. Now, if the IT bands are chronically tight in a male, that can easily lead to arthritis in the hips. So it's really, really crucial for males, especially because of the narrower hips, to stretch the IT bands regularly. Okay, so after all the stretching and the rolling, Ray's gonna perform another squat, and then let's see how he feels and how the squat feels to him. Stand a little bit wider. What do you observe?
I can definitely go at least 6 inches lower. Look at that. I haven't had a squat like this for years. I feel like there's hope for me yet. Thank you,
Okay.
All-in-One Fitness.
Okay, good. And that's just after one session. Of course, this takes a few weeks until you really feel now you have the perfect range of motion again. But really, it's key to stay on top of your stretching and do this regularly, the foam rolling as well as the stretches that we just showed you. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We love to see you again.
I'm surprised I was able to put a stretch down like that.